Don't have all my camera gear that I normally have, and I'm working in a bit of a hurry because the rivers are on their way up. The water's supposed to be on the levee by the end of the day. It might actually be up there already. And I need to get my hot wire moved so that the levee patrols can go through here and do what they need to do. Just dropped a bale off here at the winter pasture to distract the cows. Honestly, there's probably enough grass out here where they don't really need it, but I put it out here anyway so that they'll stay out of my way while I have that wire down. I don't have to worry about them crossing. So that's kind of where we're at today. It's a bit of a hectic and stressful day, but hopefully we can get this done and hopefully the water doesn't come up too much. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. A hat is just not gonna work today, so you guys are gonna see me go hatless, which does not happen often, trust me. Well, it's been several days since we got the warning of high water coming and I got this hot wire moved over. Since then, I've been checking the wire twice a day just to make sure that it's still working, because when it's on this side of the levee, the potential for branches or limbs to fall on it is a lot higher, especially when we're having the kind of storms that we were having the other day. A lot of people are probably wondering, why not just put the wire up on this side of the levee in the first place? Because you don't really lose anything from a pasture standpoint. You're just not allowing them access to this gravel road where there's nothing to eat anyway. But the reason why I usually put it on the far side is because a lot of times I like to get up on the levee and use this higher vantage point to check cows and find cows, and it just makes it a lot easier not having to navigate that wire, especially when it's as hot as it is right now. I think it hit like 8,900 volts. So I definitely don't want to touch that. I've been watching the water over the last several days since moving this wire, and it has steadily risen and continued to flood this river bottom here, but it has looked like over the past couple of days that it's kind of stabilized. That doesn't mean that it can't start coming up again tomorrow, but for now it seems not terrible. You could see that the water's not touching the toe of the levee here yet. I think if you go down river a ways that it probably is. But right now the water is mostly in the cut here. And you can see, well, I'll get the drone up and we'll be able to get a better idea of how flooded this river bottom actually is. But just because things look good today doesn't mean that they're going to look good tomorrow. This winter, California has gotten a ton of precipitation, both in the form of rain and snow. And this is great because we've been in a drought for the past, like, forever. So we needed this moisture. But the problems that we're facing now is we've got like record-breaking snowpack up in the mountains. I think they said there's more snow in the mountains now than there has ever been since sometime in the 60s. The big danger now is that when we get these warm storms coming through, that snow gets rained on, and then the reservoirs are met with a figurative tidal wave of water draining down out of the mountains. The reservoir operators have no choice but to open the floodgates on the dam and to let more water out of the reservoir, and that's what we see in these levees. They need to release a bunch of water to make room for all of that incoming water. High water is nothing new to this area. In fact, I'd say we almost get high water every year. Not every year, but almost every year. The highest that I've ever seen it get is touching the toe of the levee right here. So the fence that's at the toe of the levee, I've never seen it disappear, but I've seen it about halfway underwater. So that's a lot more than what's here right now. The danger, or the reason that they need to patrol these levees, is because if there is some sort of a breach in the levee, like think of, you know, maybe like a gopher hole, or just some place where water is getting through, what can happen is the water will erode that and erode that until it becomes a significant leak, which could ultimately lead to a levee failure. Some other things that the guys are looking for are, like, if trees fall down and are on the levee, what can happen is as the water gets higher and starts flowing past the downed tree, it'll start swirling around in that spot, and then you can get another weak spot in the levee like that. So I'm sure there's a bunch of other reasons or things that they look for, but those are just the two that I kind of know about. So the patrols are necessary so that these guys can spot minor leaks and fix them before they become big problems, because if the levee completely fails, which has happened in history, it's a nightmare. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this, and I'll keep you guys posted. This is the kind of thing that there's really nothing you can do about it. You just kind of monitor it and see what's going on, and you know, hopefully everything works out all right, but we'll just kind of wait and see. My morning calf walk out here, and I got a bunch of buzzards out here in the pasture, and during calving season, that's the last thing you want to see, because a lot of times what it can mean is that you got a dead calf and the buzzards are out here working on it. But what I have noticed is that during calving season, they kind of just hang around here. And I think the reason for that is not because we're losing so many calves that they've got a constant food supply, but I think they're out here picking on afterbirth and little things that are left behind that are kind of a part of the birthing process. Typically, after a cow gives birth, she will eat all of the afterbirth, but they don't always eat it. Sometimes younger cows won't do it for one reason or another. Or I think a lot of times what happens as well is they will eat like the main bulk of it, and then maybe a little bit more falls out later that the cows is just not wired in their brain to go eat that, and that's what these buzzards are out here looking for. So far we're up to 11 calves out of a total of, I think, 36 expected. So we're not even halfway yet, but so far everything's been going pretty smoothly, all things considered. Out of those 11 calves that we have, 9 of them have been born here at the home ranch, and only 2 of them over at the winter pasture. And this is a clear pattern. This happens every year. When we start having calves, they come here at the home ranch hard and fast, and then they just sort of start trickling in at the winter pasture a little bit later and a little bit slower. And I keep thinking about this phenomenon and what would cause it, and I've got a theory, but if you guys have a theory, I would love to hear what you think, or maybe what you know. In years past, I always attributed this to the fact that these cows here at the home ranch were existing all winter long on hay, and the cattle at the winter pasture were existing mostly on grass with some supplemental hay. However, this year, if you guys remember, when we brought the cows over to the winter pasture, the feed was basically non-existent out there, and I've been feeding them hay pretty much up until now. But the point is that all winter long, the cows have essentially had the same diet. So I can throw that out. Now what my theory is that the cattle here at the home ranch basically do 2 things all day long while they're here. They get up to eat at the feeder, and then they go lay back down. The cattle at the winter pasture, however, we're still getting that daily ration of hay, but then for the rest of the day, they would be traveling that ranch looking for other little bits of grass to nibble on. So they're burning a lot more calories just because they are up and more active. Whereas the cows that are here are not burning those same calories because they spend more of their day laying down. So when we put all this together, I think that the cattle here at the home ranch, what they are eating, what they are consuming, a higher percentage of it could be used to develop that calf more quickly, whereas the cattle at the winter pasture were burning some more calories to travel and just be active, and therefore their calves possibly don't develop quite as quickly, although still within the window of what is normal and average. You need a little ear scratch? Is that what you're telling me? The Bismarck bull calf is starting to feel like a big shot. I think he's trying to tell me I'm ready, put me in this season, but sorry buddy, not yet. Fast forward a little bit, we're doing the evening rounds now. I've got all 19 cows out here grazing the south end of this ranch, so nobody's hiding having a calf, but I see both of our new calves that we've got out here. So let's see if we can get a little closer and check them out. Well, still just the two out here, and the funny thing is there's a bunch of these cows look like they're ready to pop any minute, and of all the ones that are out here I've been watching, the two cows that have actually had calves are not the ones that I expected to go first. Sometimes I think I can predict it pretty good, and then sometimes I don't. Well, everybody out here looks content and happy, so well, I guess tomorrow's another day. So just to give a little update, this little calf right here, and that's number 17 standing behind him. This is the one that I had to lock up, or the pair that I had to lock up the other day and kind of force the bond. But as you can see, the calf's doing great now and running around and feeling good. So I think we can put that one to rest. That was a success. I think I just see 9 here, which is what there should be, or what there was before. Well, for today at least, looks like the calf count's staying at 11. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.